once again giving all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakah Gwadash. And double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught us this truth, and to include the elder bishops on down. And Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai Brakatham to the elect, those that are sincere. And I just want to just jump right into this over here, dealing with this article. As this reads, fury has terrified. A Jewish father and his 6-year-old son are attacked and called murderers by enraged pro-Palestine crowd after stopping at an Italian motorway service station. So let's read a little bit of this article, and as usual, we're going to get to the scriptures. A furious row has erupted in Italy after a Jewish man claimed he and his 6-year-old son were attacked at a motorway service area by an enraged pro-Palestinian crowd. The man, who has not been named, and his son has stopped to use the facilities at the rest area while driving from Milan to their homes in Paris after a holiday. They were both wearing traditional Jewish kippahs and attracted the attention of people at the service near Lanet on the main Milan-Alaghi motorway. The father, who managed to capture the incident on the video as he and his son were insulted, said they were both left terrified. In the clip, which was later uploaded to social media, a group of people can be heard shouting in Italian, "Palestina Libera," from Palestine, right, free Palestine and go back home. Others also shout in Italian, "Assassini," which means murderers, while another adds, "This isn't Gaza. Here is Italy," and another can be heard shouting, "You will go to hell sooner or later." The man's sons can clearly be seen in the clip, and he looks on with a scared look on his face as the crowd increased their hostility. At one point, the video appears to shake. In interviews with Italian media, he claims to have been pushed to the floor and then kicked with the crowd, demanding he deletes the video. Right. So this is the pictures, as you can see here, and there's a video, I think, which I'll probably, oh my God, what the hell is going on with this computer? Yeah, let's play this video, see what's happening.
Palestina libera.
Qui non è Gaza, qui siamo in Italia, siamo a Milano. Assassini.
Voilà l'Italie. Voilà l'Italie, voilà l'Italie.
Palestine, free Palestine.
Voilà l'esposo.
Andate a casa vostra. Andate a casa vostra, assassini. Assassini.
Palestine.
Assassini.
Assassini.
Am Israel chai. Am Israel chai. Viva Israel.
Yeah, so there it is from there.
Yeah, good morning.
Let's also go into this as well. How many pro-Palestine in the world? UN member states, 147 out of 193 UN member states have recognized the state of Palestine. You know, that's quite a bit. In combination, that's a lot of people, boy. Which ties into this precept over here. Obadiah 1 and verse 1, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, here's the point. I have made thee small among the heathen, and thou art greatly despised. And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing this play out right now. And, the people that head Edom are these Amalekites. And because of all of this shit that they did for years, and now that everything that they're doing now in combination, which they've done in times past to now, is all come to an head, to being revealed. And people are really expressing how much they despise these people. Okay? And they did it all because of pride. As well as this reads, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, and thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Right. And because of that mentality, they were able to cause so much controversy and destruction in the world to the point where people have had enough. Okay. I want to read this as well. Only by pride. This is Proverbs 13 and verse 10. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom. Absolutely. So this is the reason why people have a contentious spirit towards these devils, because they were contentious first, greatly, as it is written that they've ruled as the hem of the whole earth, which will be cut asunder when Yahweh comes back. So not only are the people contentious against him because of his contention, but guess what? His contention is going to bring him to the king of terrors, and Yahweh is going to contend against this fucking devil to get him out of power. All right. And you see, what we going to see, man, when it's all said and done is the result of pride. Okay. Because this devil is going to be brought down in the big way. Because of that great pride, there lies in front of it destruction. Great destruction, which is bound to come for these devils. And I'm talking about the top tier of these devils, these Amalekites, which thought that they could just do whatever the fuck they wanted to do in the world and not receive no kind of recompense. But now people have had enough. And guess what? They ain't got the people to worry about. What they need to be concerned about is the Lord coming back to declare that he's had enough. And that's going to be a whole different problem to deal with. A problem that they can't deal with at all when it's presented their way. Yahweh Shah is going to destroy them. Okay? And they won't be able to get rid of that. That's written, and that's going to happen. You know, these devils, they got power to destroy, you know, people in mass numbers, but they're not going to have the power enough to destroy these uninvited beings which are coming on the planet, as they like to call UFOs or AUPs. The Lord is coming, man, and when the Lord comes back, he's coming back with the thousands of heaven of these chariots, and the Lord is coming to bring fire upon this place for the wrongdoings that they have done. So yeah, the people have had enough, but the time is gonna come when the Lord is gonna have enough, and he's gonna bring himself into this realm, and like I said, the rest is gonna follow. Obadiah 1 and verse 4, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. And when you see those high buildings and you see these space station retreat systems, that's declaring their level of pride. But again, with that level of pride, it's going to be to a level of destruction, which is going to be just for them. And they're going to be brought down to the ground. That's why it reads in the book of Isaiah 47 and verse 1. It reads, sit down, O daughter of Babylon, because that's where they're going to end up. They're going to end up down and under. And when we enslave them, we're going to put them fucking under, literally. Right where they belong. Proverbs 13. Excuse me. Read that already. So I want to also go into this as well, right? Because I've watched a documentary, and they were speaking about this silverback gorilla, how he was kind to the pack, and because of it, all of the pack respected him. But you know, AI breaks it down and stuff, because I couldn't find a documentary on it. And so as this reads, if a silverback gorilla is not kind to its pack, it could lead to several negative consequences for the group's dynamics and survival, while silverbacks are generally protective and responsible for their group's well-being. A male gorilla exhibiting unkind behavior might disrupt social hierarchies, decrease group cohesion, and potentially lead to the group being more vulnerable to the extent threats or internal conflict. So there's a point in this that I want to read, a couple of points in this. So the silverback's behavior towards females and infants can significantly impact the group's reproductive success. A lack of care or protection could lead to higher infant mortality rates. Yeah. Physical aggression towards group members, especially females and infants, is a clear sign of unkind behavior. And there's another point that I want to read in this. I'm going to read this as well, but I want to read that last. Yeah, this is it right here. Yeah, so the negative impacts on a group. Disrupting social hierarchy. A silverback's leadership relies on the degrees of respect and differences from other group members. If the silverback is considered constantly unkind, it can undermine his authority, potentially leading to challenges from other males or even the formation of separate bachelor groups. So you're going to have separate groups that can pose against the already authority. And this is what we're seeing because, again, as I've mentioned, right, as I quoted the precept, that Esau has ruled as the hammer of the earth. So now there's this contention that's going out in the air. So people don't want to be down for the government that they're under anymore. And then you got people all around the world that are disrespecting those that rule over them just in general. All right. And this is why you're going to have 2nd Ezra 15. You're going to have seditions among men because the powers that be are not governing the people correctly. They're governing the people incorrectly with pure unkindness, man. All right. So as this reads, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be seditions among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And why should they? Because their power has not regarded them. So therefore the people are going to disregard their power. Because sometimes, man, not sometimes, but all the time, I would say, when you keep pushing people towards the corner, you keep prodding people, eventually enough is going to be enough, and the people are going to react and respond, which is what they want anyway. But I'm just conveying the point. You know, when you rule the people in wrath, then you're going to receive the wrath that's coming. Something's going to give. The energy you throw out there is the same energy that's going to ricochet against you. And in this time, the Lord is coming back. So the Lord is going to be very expressive in his indignation against this man, because he came with indignation. You know, we can talk about how he enslaved our people in masses and destroyed the North American Indians, taking over their lands, and he's never stopped. It's just been an ongoing warpath that he's been on to destroy people's lives so that they can gain. So eventually enough becomes enough. And then a reaction has to be had. All right. So, you know, people are going to be resistant, and people are becoming more and more, I would say, seditious against their government. Not physically, but spiritually now. All right. So what I did is I flipped it. And as this reads, a kind silverback gorilla is respected by his troops for his leadership, protection, and guidance. While silverbacks are known for their strength and dominance, they also exhibit gentleness and play a crucial role in the well-being of their families. Protection. They defend their troop from threats, including rival gorillas and predators, often displaying aggression behavior like chest beating or charging. Guidance. Silverbacks lead by example, ensuring the safety and well-being of all members, including females and young gorillas. Gentleness. Despite their strength, silverbacks can be surprisingly gentle, especially when interacting with infants and juveniles, playing at an important role in their socializations and development. And as well as the scripture says, Yeah, I'm going to read this. This is Wisdom of Solomon 7. And I'm going to begin by reading verse 17. Yeah, I can work with this. As this reads, for he have given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely to know how the world was made, and the operation of the elements, the beginning, ending, in the midst of the times, the alterations of the turning of the sun, and the changing of the seasons, the circuits of years, and the position of stars, the natures of living creatures, and the fury of wild beasts, the violence of winds, and the reasonings of men, and the diversity of plants, and the virtue of roots. Right. So, when we're talking about the silverback gorilla, the silverback gorilla is a creature to study. And there's a good and bad nature to everything of the Lord's creation. But what we want to do is look at the good qualities and apply these things to ourselves, which is quite obvious. Okay, if you have a good leader, then guess what? He's going to develop a good, he's going to have a good pack following him. And they're going to treat him with respect and do things to show their appreciation for him. All right. So as this reads as well, family bonds. Silverback nurture strong bonds with their family members, providing support during times of weaning and offering protection and care. A kind silverback leadership style is characterized by both strength and compassion, earns him the respect and loyalty of his troop. And that's just what it's supposed to be. If you show respect to people of the world and you rule in your righteousness. Now, don't get me wrong, in our kingdom, we're going to have to kick a lot of these nations up the ass. But when the ass whooping is all said and done, we're going to resort to our righteousness in totality, which, the ass whooping is going to be righteous anyway, because, again, that's something that is commanded for us to do when the time presents itself. But what I'm saying is our kindness is going to be shown. We're going to be reasonable to these other nations. So therefore, they're going to love us ruling over them. All right? Because when we rule over them, guess what? Us ruling over them is going to be a blessing unto them. You see? So going back over here, what I forgot to read is this. Okay. Yeah, I don't need to read that. We're going to move forward. Yeah, so now let's look into the biblical laws of care. Because as a leader of the people, you are a shepherd and you're to care for the sheep, as well as Yahushua is the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. And then you're going to have King David under him, and then as well as you're going to have the 12, and we're all going to rule justly. And the way that we're going to rule justly is ruling under the influences of the instructions that's given, which is going to be under that new covenant. And so therefore, ain't no wrong going to come out of that. All right. So when we're talking about the law of care, biblical law of care, the Bible outlines a clear mandate for caring for others, particularly the vulnerable, rooted in the Most High's character and commands. This care extends to various aspects of life, including physical needs, social justice, and spiritual well-being. The Old Testament laws emphasizes care for the poor, widows, orphans, and foreigners. Examples include gleaning in the fields for the poor and providing for the needy in Israelite society. Yahushua's teaching in parables like the Good Samaritan highlights the importance of extending compassion to all, even those outside one's own community or faith. The early church in Acts chapter 2 provides for the poor and needy by selling possessions to meet the needs of others. Right, balance, justice and compassion. The Bible calls for a balance of justice and mercy in how we treat others. Oppression, oppressing of the poor and vulnerable is seen as a direct insult to the Most High. And that's all Esau's been doing. All Esau's been doing is oppressing the poor. Who are the poor morally that he's been oppressing? More so, should I say, the Israelites. And guess what makes matters even worse? The Israelites are the people of the Most High. As the Lord said, that Jacob is the apple of his eye. So Esau got hell to pay for that too. Healthcare, specific applications, biblical principles encourage believers to seek appropriate medical care and to support one another in times of illness or injury. This includes being sensitive to a difference of opinions and offering practical help in prayer, which is in James 5 and 13. And any among you afflicted, let him pray. Is any merry, let him sing psalms. Here's the point, verse 14. Is any sick among you, let him call for the elders of the church and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai. Right? Or Yahweh. And the prayer of the faith shall save the sick, and the Lord shall raise him up. And if he have committed sins, they shall be forgiven him. There you go. So that's the spiritual medical help in this case, or the spiritual the spiritual. I'm going a bit quick in my head, man. Gotta calm down. Yeah, so the spiritual health care is James 5 and verse 14 to what? Verse 15. Relationships. No. Caregiving. The Bible calls for patience and support for caregivers, recognizing the stress and challenges of caregiving, especially in case of dementia or Alzheimer's. This can include offering respite, practical assistance, and prayer. And guess what? In the Apocrypha tells you that, where it reads that you have to be patient with your parents. Okay, because a lot of the times when you get old, your brain slows down. But Alzheimer's and dementia is caused because the brain is not being put into use as much. So when you get older, if you're not utilizing your mind as much as you should, even while you're young, then it can take its toll on you when you're older. And that's where Alzheimer's comes in. But when you're constantly using your brain, then you won't catch that. But a lot of people suffer from this. So if your parents do have this disease, then you're supposed to be patient with them. And even if they don't have this disease, guess what? If your parents are old, they're going to have something else that you're going to have to be patient on them, because they're not going to be fast as they used to. They're going to be slow now. All right. So it's for us to show patience. All right. So yeah, we can pray for our parents on that regard. Oh, absolutely. Relationships. The concept of bearing one another's burden is emphasized in Galatians chapter 2, highlighting the importance of mutual support and encouragement. Let's read that. Galatians 6. And we'll begin by reading verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of the anointed. Absolutely. All right. And this is the reason why at times brothers need spiritual upliftment, emotional upliftment from time to time. Hey, sometimes you got to kick a brother up the ass to give him that tough love, and that'll get him going. Okay. Depending on whatever situation that is. So we're supposed to encourage one another. If a man think of himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone and not in another. Right. Another point. For every man shall bear his own burden. And let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him, teacheth in all good things. Right. So yeah, at times, for the most part, we're supposed to be independent and bearing our own burdens. Everyone has a cross to bear, and we're supposed to bear our own cross. But there comes a time when you fall down emotionally hard, and you need that spiritual encouragement from other brothers, and that's when brothers supposed to come. A brother or a couple of brothers supposed to come together to help a brother out. All right, when needs be. But you don't want to be the kind of brother also, just to flip it. You don't want to be a brother where you're constantly having to be an individual or brother that has to feel the need to have your hands being held all the daggone time. All right? Just to mention. Let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. Yeah, so that's all I got to read right there. That's it. So yeah, a brother that teaches good things, which we all teach good things. We teach the 100% truth, which is the sound doctrine, right? We can communicate unto men that may fall on hard times emotionally. Again, encouraging brothers when needed. So when we do all of these things, what are we showing? We're showing the way the Most High wants us to be, because he's that way. The Lord is a merciful power, right? So we're all to be merciful as well, and to lead in righteousness ultimately. Okay. Yeah. The core, love as the motivation, love for the Most High and others. The core motivation for caring for others is love for the Most High and love for one's neighbor. Right, as it is also written, right? How can you love the Most High if you can't love your brother whom you've seen? Let me see if I can read that as well. Lord willing, I can find that precept as well. And by the way, the term neighbor is in relation to your brother. It doesn't necessarily mean someone that lives next door to you. That's not what it means. The word neighbor truly means someone that's near and kin to you. All right? Or that's of your nation, should I say. All right, so let me do this. Because you got a simpleton that will say, oh yeah, well that means you're supposed to love every single individual, no matter what nationality they are. No, we're not supposed to love all nationalities of people, because all nationalities of people don't love us. All right. Yeah, Galatians 5 and verse 14 says, for all of the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this, thou shalt love thy neighbors thyself. Yeah. That's going into something else. Let me go back. What I could do, I could read this. This is a good scripture too. And he answered and said, thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul. Yep. And with all thy strength and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. Yeah. So if you don't love your neighbor, then you can't love the Most High. So that's what's required. We're supposed to love one another as brethren in this faith. Yeah. So another thing too. Right. The core motivation. Let me read this again. The core motivation for caring for others is love for God and love for one's neighbor. Right. As I just read in John chapter 10, love in action is love should be expressed through tangible action, such as providing for physical need, offering emotional support, and demonstrating compassion, which is written in the book of Galatians, the 6th chapter, bearing one another's burdens. 5, God's example. The Bible portrays the Most High as a defender of the weak, a provider for the needy, and a loving father to all. Imitations believers are called to reflect the Most High's character by showing compassion and justice to others. So if we apply these things to ourselves, then by the same, we're going to apply these things even into the kingdom of heaven upon our whole entire race, and our entire race is going to be well taken care of. Okay? And we're going to have a healthy societal setup. and so shall we forever be blessed. So yeah, let's read this as well. 1 Thessalonians 4 and verse 18. Wherefore comfort one another with these words, which really, this is really talking about those that have died or that are going to die in Yahushua. Those that have died already shall be caught up into the cloud to meet the Lord in the air. You know, that's what this is talking about. So yeah, this is comforting because some of us are going to have to die for this truth. And the ones that have died in this truth, they're going to be resurrected. So that's comfortable to hear, to know. All right. So let me read it properly, since that I'm here anyway. 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 13. But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that you sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Yahushua will the Most High bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, and with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of the Most High, and the dead and the anointed shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds, to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort one another with these words. So there you go. Okay. So yeah, we know eventually the time is going to come, as well as I've already said, that we're going to have to die for this truth, man. And it's okay because, hey, eventually, when it's all said and done, our righteousness will follow after us when we're resurrected. Isaiah 9 and verse 6, for unto us a child is born, and unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. And the reason why it's going to be peaceful, because all of those righteous laws and those statutes which will be in our inward parts are going to be put into practice, and it's going to influence people to be as righteous as they can. All right, as the Most High will allow, and more so we will be. Okay, so guess what? That's what's going to bring peace. And thanks be to Yahushua that he died on the cross for our sins, so that a better covenant can come, so that therefore tranquility overall can only but be forever. Of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice. From henceforth, even forever, the zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. Now let's even read this. Sirach chapter 10 verse 4. The power of the earth is in the hands of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. And the one which will be profitable to rule is Yahushua. And under Yahushua, you're going to have the rest of the 144,000. And now you're talking about a sound management. Now you're talking about a sound rulership that's going to breathe life on the planet Earth, and as well as even into the cosmos, because we're going to be able to go into various different planets in the galaxy. So everywhere we go, we're going to breathe life. All right. So a sound rulership is going to come, which will be, and which is to be only of the power of the Lord. Okay. And this is something that these devils are trying to prevent. But how can you prevent something that was already written? It was written for you to come into power. And it is written that you're going to come out of power next. And we're going to rule over you. And you're going to be our slaves. And in those things, those curses that's going to be brought upon you, you're going to have to suffer the consequences of the wrongs that you have done. And that's all I have to say. Changing of worlds is coming, brothers. So with that, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great Noson that have taught us this truth, and to include the elder bishops on down. Shalom.